In this section, we're going to look at cryptography, which is basically the idea of encoding messages, sending them, and then decoding them. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the Cipher cipher. This is a very, very basic cipher, but at the time it was a reasonable system to use since this type of system wasn't commonly in place. It's called the Cipher cipher because it was used by Julius Caesar to send messages to his troops. So basically all it is we take the alphabet, right, the normal alphabet in order from A to Z, and this case it is shifted over 3 spaces. So it's not always shifted exactly 3 letters, but in this case it is. So basically we see that the letter D just got shifted over here. So if you want to send something that starts with the letter A, you're going to encode it with the letter D, and so on, right? B is going to become E. F is going to be, or sorry, F is going to move over, so C becomes F. So that's kind of the idea. It's just that we shift the entire thing, and then of course A, B, and C, we don't see those represented here. Those would go after Z. So it's sort of like the alphabet wraps around. So we're going to use the above system to encode the message. Yeehaw! So basically what we do is we say, okay, I want to send a Y, right, from the normal alphabet. I'm going to encode that as the bottom letter, the B. So we're going to start with Y becomes B, and then we're going to go to E. Okay, I want to send an E, but what I'm going to write is H, and I have 2 of those, B, H. Hey, not too bad. I like those letters. B, H, H, right, because we have 2 E's. H, instead of sending H, we're going to send K. Instead of sending A, as we talked about, we're going to send D. And then instead of sending W, we'll send Z. So this would be the message that you would send to the troops. Now the troops know what they have to do. They have to back up 3 spaces. They got to, just basically undo what you did, right? So you move forward 3. A became D. It went 3 letters further into the alphabet. So they would have to back up. When they see D here, they're going to back up and go up to A. Okay. So that's encoding the message, and then decoding that we just talked about is what we're going to do in the next case. So this would basically be like using the bottom line and going back up to the top. So if we have K, right, I'm going to look in the bottom line here and go, oh, okay, K actually means H. L is right next to it. That actually means I. So we see, okay, the first word is high. And then we go to E. Right, I see E here, that really means B. We go to U. All right, BR. We go to L. We find that, oh, we already used that one. That's just I. D, again, that's if we're backing up, we're using A there. And then Q, I find that over here. And it turns out that originally that was an N. So, oh, hi, Brian. Well, nice to see you. So that's kind of the idea there of decoding the message. Typically, right, you probably wouldn't want to have this written down just in case some opposing troops found it. So you would want to basically just have an understanding of some sort, or you might send your message and just have a letter, or sorry, a number. You could say like, here's my message, and then just at the end of it have a 3, basically to say, hey, the shift that we're implementing is 3. Okay, so we're going to say, well, the previous system shifts the alphabet by 3 letters. What would it look like if we shifted by 7? So this is, again, nothing too crazy. So our shift by 3 just said take A and go 1, 2, 3 spaces here. It's now going to become D. But in this case, we're saying go by 7. So shift it by 7. So we're already at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So A becomes H. Now, once we have that, it's all going to be pretty straightforward because then we just move down the alphabet. So once I know what the first letter is, I just do I, J, K, L, and keep going in that fashion. And then we get to Z, right? At some point we get to Z and we go, oh, okay, what do I do? Well, we just, again, we wrap around. So we start back at the beginning of the alphabet. So we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and if we've done this correctly, right, the next letter would bring us back to the beginning here, so back to H. So that's what we've done. And now if we want to use this system to encode our message, the same message we did before, this one is going to be, again, yeehaw. So we start with the top letter. We say, Y is what I want to what I want you to read, I'm going to encode it as F. E is what I want you to read. I'm going to encode it as L. So we got two of those. H becomes O. A becomes H. And W becomes D. Flowed, right? So again, most of these aren't going to make sense when they're when they're encoded, which is kind of the point. So before we encoded yeehaw, we got BHHKDZ, and now with a slight change in our system, we get FLLOHD.